ॐ श्री गणेशाय नमः। ॐ श्री सरस्वत्यै नमः। ॐ श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। या देवी सर्वभूतेषु शक्तिरूपेण संस्थिता नमस्तस्यै 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 नमो नमः। Hari Om. Today we will begin Meenakshi Pancharatnam. Meenakshi Pancharatnam is a stotram composed by Bhagwan Adi Shankaracharya ji, which is 5 gems in praise of Meenakshi Devi. Meenakshi Devi is a form of goddess Parvati, and her form is described to be as one who has fish-like eyes. Meena means fish, and Akshi is referring to the eyes. Now, it is said that fish, the way that they care, the way that they nurture for their young, is just by glancing at their young, just by glancing at their young ones, they can nurture for them, they can care for them. So, in this same way, she supports her devotees merely by her glance. Just the glance from her that is filled with so much compassion that it blesses the devotees. Her watchful gaze is always protecting devotees. So this is why it is said that she has fish-like eyes. And she, Meenakshi Devi, we know, is prominently in the Madurai Meenakshi temple. They're in southern India. So the story goes that Meenakshi Devi was born to a king, Malayadwaja Pandya. He wanted a son who would become the next heir of the kingdom. But when he, performed worship towards gaining a son, instead what came out of the Homa was this 3-year-old girl who came to be Meenakshi Devi. And she was raised, because he wanted a son, she was raised like a prince. Raised like a prince and taught all of the warfare and combat. And as she grew older, she became undefeated in combat. She became so strong, so courageous, that she was undefeated in combat. And actually, she was born with a sort of physical defect. And it was prophesied that when she met her love, her true love, then that defect would come to disappear. So she was undefeated in combat until she met Bhagwan Shiva. And when she met Bhagwan Shiva and they were to be married, then that defect came to disappear. And she came to rule that Madurai and became known as Madurai Meenakshi. And this stotram was composed by Bhagwan Adi Shankaracharya ji, who was, reflecting on her beauty, reflecting on her grace. And in this way, he worshipped her through these 5 verses. The benefits of chanting this stotram is that when we reflect on Meenakshi Devi, it calms our mind, and just by the thought of her, it brings that peace to all devotees. So every verse, because of the way that her grace is, that just by her glance it protects devotees, every verse is like a shield of grace. It bestows wisdom and clarity and guides us as seekers on the path of knowledge. And because of her compassion, every verse is said in this stotram, Karunyavaran Nidhim. This is praising Meenakshi Devi's being as an ocean of compassion, being filled with this vast amount of compassion. So she nurtures the abundance of grace provides it to the seeker. So this is the beauty and the benefit of chanting this beautiful stotra. So now we will see verse 1, and then we will see the meaning of this first verse. Udyadbhanusahastrakotisadrisham Udyadbhanusahastrakotisadrisham Keyuraharujvalam Keyuraharujvalam Udyadbhanusahastrakotisadrisham Keyuraharujvalam Udyadbhanusahastrakotisadrisham Keyuraharujvalam Bimbaushtim smitadanta-panktiruchiram Bimbaushtim smitadanta-panktiruchiram Pitambaralamkrutam Pitambaralamkrutam Bimbaushtim smitadanta-panktiruchiram Pitambaralamkrutam Bimbaushtim smitadanta-panktiruchiram Pitambaralamkrutam Vishnu Brahma Surendra Sevitapadam Vishnu Brahma Surendra Sevitapadam Tattvasvarupam Shivam Tattvasvarupam Shivam Vishnu Brahma Surendra Sevitapadam Tattvasvarupam Shivam Vishnu Brahma Surendra Sevitapadam Tattvasvarupam Shivam Meenakshim Pranatosmi Santatamaham Meenakshim Pranatosmi Santatamaham Karunyavaranidhim Karunyavaranidhim Meenakshim Pranatosmi Santatamaham Karunyavaranidhim Meenakshim Pranatosmi Santatamaham Karunyavaranidhim Udyadbhanusahastrakotisadrisham Keyuraharujvalam Bimbaushtim smitadanta-panktiruchiram Pitambaralamkrutam Vishnu Brahma Surendra Sevitapadam Tattvasvarupam Shivam Meenakshim Pranatosmi Santatamaham Karunyavaranidhim Meenakshim Pranatosmi Santatamaham Karunyavaranidhim. So we'll see the meaning of this first verse. First it says, Udhyad Bhanu Sahasra Koti Sadrisham. The splendor of Meenakshi Devi is similar to that of the rising sun. Udhyad Bhanu Sahasra Koti. How many? Of thousands rising suns. Keyuraharojvalam. And she shines even more because of all of the ornaments that she wears. The armlets and the necklaces that she wears, they match the splendor of these rising suns. Bimbaushtim smitadanta pankti ruchiram. Her lips are red in the color like the bimba fruit. That bimba fruit is the ivy gourd or tindora, that when you cut it, it has a red color, very bright red color inside. And this is compared to the redness, the red tint of her lips. And she has a gentle smile, which adds more shine. And furthermore, her shine is described here, the beauty and the splendor of her form. It says, Pitambara lankrutam. She's wearing yellow dress. That is the same as the color of the sun. Vishnu Brahma Surendra Sevita Padam. Her lotus feet are worshipped by Bhagwan Vishnu and Brahmaji and Indra Bhagavan. So she is worshipped by Bhagwan Vishnu and Brahmaji. Why? Because for both of their powers, this Shakti, Parvati Devi, Meenakshi Devi being the symbol of Shakti, of power, is necessary for both of them, for the capacity of preservation, maintenance of the universe, as well as for Brahmaji with the capacity of creation of the universe. So for both of their capacities, this Shakti is needed. So they both come to worship her lotus feet. And Indra Bhagavan is the king of all devatas, the king of all deities. And he also worships her. So Vishnu Brahma Surendra Sevita Padam. And she herself is the consort of Bhagwan Shiva. She is, always with Bhagwan Shiva. So thus is only mentioned here Brahmaji and Bhagwan Vishnuji. Then Tattva Swarupam Shivam. And she is the form of truth. Tattva Swarupa and Shivam, the form of auspiciousness. Shiva here means auspiciousness. So she is verily that form of the reality. So in the beginning part of this verse, we saw her Saguna form described. All of the qualities of her described with so much beauty, so much splendor that is referring to. And then we see her Nirguna form, Tattva Swarupam Shivam. She is verily the form of that truth, that reality that does not have any qualities. So Meenakshi Devi, she embodies that Parabrahman in both the Saguna form and the Nirguna form. And for a sadhaka, both provide benefit. Both are necessary to perform upasana, to reflect, to contemplate upon a form. It provides the ekagrata, the chitta ekagrata that a sadhaka needs. Because the mind needs to be focused towards a form. So when a sadhaka comes to contemplate on a specific form, then all of those attributes of that form come to their mind. And they're able to focus that mind purely on that form of Bhagavan or Bhagavati. And that comes to direct the mind into a single pointed focus. This provides the chitta ekagrata that the mind needs in order to come to reach that goal, come to realize that reality. So this is the benefit of Saguna Upasana. Then Nirguna Upasana helps with the making the mind more subtle. Because naturally, the mind is more gross. It is not able to realize that which is subtler than the mind itself. Now that reality, that Atma, being subtler than the mind itself, it becomes very difficult for the mind to focus onto it, for the mind to grasp it, comprehend it. So thinking about the Nirguna, understanding that Nirguna formless, that is without any attributes, makes the mind more sukshma, makes the mind more subtle. So to come to realize that reality, both chitta shuddhi, purification of the mind, and chitta ekagrata, the single pointedness of the mind, are necessary. So both are included here. It begins with describing Meenakshi Devi in Saguna form, in the form itself. Why? Because this is easier for us to understand, for us to comprehend, for us to visualize at first. And as the mind becomes more and more pure, more and more subtle, it can come to understand, come to comprehend even that formless, come to realize that formless. The ultimate goal is for us to come to merge with that formless, come to realize that formless reality. But it's not easily accessible until the mind is prepared, the mind is purified, the mind can be directed towards the higher, can be focused towards the higher. So until the mind becomes prepared for that, the sadhaka is provided both, provided the saguna form to focus on, to purify the mind, to direct the mind, and slowly the mind is able to come to comprehend that which is even beyond the mind, that nirguna, that which is subtler than the mind itself. So this is why both are mentioned. The Devi is described both in her form and as being nirguna, formless. So we'll chant this verse one more time and we'll see the next verse in the next class. उद्यद्भानुसहस्रकोटिसदृशां केयूरहारोज्ज्वलां बिम्बौष्टीं स्मितदन्तपङ्क्तिरुचिरां पीताम्बरालङ्कृतां विष्णुब्रह्मसुरेन्द्रसेवितपदां तत्त्वस्वरूपां शिवाम् मीनाक्षीं प्रणतोऽस्मि सन्ततमहं कारुण्यवारान्निधिम्. And that last line I did not mention, Meenakshim pranatosmi santatamaham karunyavaranidhim. Meenakshi Devi, she is worshipped, my salutations to her, as she is an ocean of compassion, karunyavaran nidhim. She's ocean of treasure, ocean of this treasure of compassion. And this is complimenting on how much compassion she has, this vast amount of compassion, for she is like mother herself. Mother who is always has this forgiving nature, this highest nature of forgiveness. This is Meenakshi Devi, who is like mother. The divine mother's amount of compassion she has for her devotees, and like that fish, she shields all her devotees just by her grace, just by her glance. So this we see in this first verse. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.